Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video for the weekend. And, very interesting theme here. And we talked about this the other day, about how we are right at the tree line on the spiders. And anytime this market kind of looks like it wants to sell off, buyers are coming up into the close. And if you look at all these closes, they are in the upper the upper third of the range. Okay, that's hugely bullish, meaning that there are buyers that are coming in. Now, regardless of your belief of how the market is right now, because everybody's going to have different beliefs on the current market. Oh my gosh, it's overvalued, it's a bubble, or it's, the next best thing since sliced bread. Whatever your beliefs are, we want to pay attention to the actual price action. That's what's telling the story. And the story here is whether or not it's overvalued is that there are more buyers than sellers, okay? And it's very possibly that there are people that are trapped short. There is a lot of short interest that's out there. And it's very, very possible that the market is just anticipating that 6 to 12 months from now, based on whatever the market has seen, right? The market's very smart about that. Is the infrastructure spending going to go through? Are tax cuts going to go through? If that's the case, the market can see that before anyone else, and it'll start pricing that in early. Okay, we don't know. All we know is that the trend is higher. Now, my concern, though, is that we were butting up against resistance here. So there was a trade that we were looking at today with Alibaba, okay? And I like this trade. Look at this. There's a squeeze, okay? Very nice looking squeeze here. And all the waves are above zero. It's a very bullish combination. And price action is above the 21-period moving average, okay? So I like this quite a bit. And as I'm looking at this, I am looking like, wow, this thing could actually really have a pretty significant move higher. The problem is that the overall market is sitting at that tree line. Okay, so what do you do in a situation like that? Well, let me show you how I structured this. So you'll notice a couple of things on this is that, a lot of times when I'll do stuff like this, you might say, oh, okay, you just buy some calls. They're in the money. That's easy. These are 21 days out. I've got a target of these at $7, okay, based on what we're seeing. But because the market is at resistance, I also know that it's like, well, the market may actually go sideways here for a little bit. So what I wanted to do was create a theta positive position, okay? And it's hard to see that there because it's squinched up, but let me move this out a little bit. So you'll see right now that my theta is $104 positive. Now, if you're not familiar with theta, like if you're newer like I didn't know what that was for like 10 years, all that means is that I have more premium erosion going into my account than I do leaving my account, okay? When you buy a call, every day, a little bit of the premium portion of that option disappears because we know that by the time an option expires, all the premium is gone. So every day a little bit's chipped away, chipped away, chipped away until all that's left is the real value, the intrinsic value, okay? As an example, this $100 call is, $4 or $3.94. Well, it's worth $2.95. So 102.95 minus 100, that's 2.95. That's its real value. And the rest of that, this dollar, or I guess 99 cents, is pure premium. Well, that 99 cents part of it's going to be gone by the time we get to expiration. Okay, that's theta. So if I just had the call, this would be negative. I think it was like negative 96 theta, meaning it would lose $96 a day up into expiration on 20 contracts. So what we did is we sold the put credit spreads that expire next week, and then we actually legged into a diagonal where we sold some calls against this that expire in 14 days. Now, instead of losing $97 a day in premium, we're actually making $104 a day in premium. Why is this important? Because if the market trades sideways and BABA trades sideways, instead of losing $97 a day on this position, we'll make $104 a day. So it's one of those things that'll add up over time, and over the course of expiration, if this thing traded flat, we'd either lose $2,300 if we just had the calls, or we would make $2,700 by structuring it this way. Okay, so anyway, little things like that can add up after a while. And then the only other thing we did today is we just took some profits in Ulta. This has been a really solid winner for us, and we're going to continue to look at positions for this one into next week. So if you're interested in learning about stuff like that, what I just described in Alibaba, okay, this is the kind of thing that we're going to be doing this weekend. So we're having, it's always tough, frankly, trying to name these classes, but we're going to have what I'd call a basic class this Saturday. If you can't attend it live, you can still lock in this price and get the recording. It'll be from noon to 4 Central Time. But myself and Henry, we're going to be going through stuff like this so that if you're a beginning trader or if you're newer to simpler trading, you understand our philosophy behind the markets. Okay, look, 80% of the time, you shouldn't actually be in a market. Okay, if you're watching Amazon, whatever time frame you're watching it on, 80% of the time you should not be in it at all. Okay, there's only 20% of the time when it actually makes sense to put on a trade, and we want to identify those situations and then understand, you know, okay, do you buy a call on that or do you sell a put spread, and what's your target, and why sometimes can you have bigger targets and other times you should have smaller targets, okay, things like that. So we're going to dive into that tomorrow. And then if you want to do live trading with us, you know, end of day, there's this $297. This includes this class. And then if you also want to do the live trading with us, that includes everything. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So these classes are great. And simplertrading.com/101. And for those of you that are joining us, looking forward to seeing you on Saturday.